Hey, Shalom, Shalom. We the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. First and foremost, I want to say, call Laim La, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Kakudash. A double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone and tell me the truth and rule well. Much respect to you, brothers out there pushing this truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, Shalom. All right, so this is an article just going into the history of the cowboy. Because the first cowboys was, so-called black men. It says black men were cowboys before it was cool. All right. It says in 1830, 1840, the 1850s and 60s, there was nothing but black cowboys, Cali says. You want to know why? In Texas, cowboy was a slave name. The white man didn't want to work horses and work cows. He refused to be called a cowboy. He wanted to be called a cowhand or a cow puncher. All right. He didn't want to be called a cowboy because it was a derogatory term. Just like I said, cowboy was a slave name. Back hundreds of years ago, or not even hundreds of years ago, maybe like 50 years ago, and sometimes now, boy, if a so-called white man calls you boy, that's disrespectful, man. That's a disrespect. That's one reason the white man didn't want to be called cowboy, because it was derogatory. But this is Deuteronomy 28:37. It says, "And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee." All right, and cowboy is a byword. It's derogatory. It's disrespectful. All right. Continue on. It says, until people started hearing about cowboys back east, and they didn't know they were black, and they got famous. And then all of a sudden, the white cowboys started saying, "Hey, I'm a cowboy." That's Esau Edom for you, man. That's what he does. And chiefly, they do that with the truth. They try to say that they're the people, and they are not. But everything that Jake has done, they try to whitewash it and put their face on it. So I wanted to grab this precept as well. This is Micah 2:2. It says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." All right. So it said they covet fields and take them by violence. They have got everything they have gotten by violence. All right. It says, and they take them away. They take them. It says, so they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. And they oppress a man and his heritage by putting their face as the face that founded it. Everything that has ever been is because of Jake, man. Jake is the former of all things. All right. We can keep going in this article. See what else. It says, in the early 1800s, as Americans moved west in the territory of Texas for cheap land and a new start, many Southerners took their slaves along with them. When Texas pulled into the Confederacy and the slave owners moved east to fight in the Civil War, they left their ranches in the hands of their slaves. Those slaves became some of the first black cowboys of the American West. It says, after the war, then thousands of newly freed slaves in the South were searching for a way to make a living. Some already experienced with cattle and other livestock wound their way westward. Being a cowboy, the late William Loren Katz, an African-American history scholar, told Smithsonian Museum, magazine in 2017, was one of the few jobs open to men of color who wanted to not serve as elevator operators or delivery boys or other similar occupations. So Jake made the West. Going back to the title, it says how black cowboys made the West. Jake is the former of all things. So Lord willing, that was edifying. I'm close it out by saying, call her Layim La, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Kakadash Shalom.